Hi, this is Lakshmi Chaudhary, founder and editor of Splainer.in and the host of What the Happened Here. All we're going to talk about today are the election results. Is this really the end of the Modi era? Or are liberals misreading a normal political setback as a grand defeat? In other words, what the happened here? Let's start with the obvious. Everyone expected BJP to rule the Hindi belt and get walloped in the south. Thoda sa ulta ho gaya. The Saffron Party was jilted in Uttar Pradesh, where it lost 29 seats, including Faizabad, the home of the Ram Mandir. Now that's a serious thappad. Haryana was a disaster as well. BJP's total dropped from 10 to 5. Even Bihar was underwhelming. NDA won 39 out of 40 seats in 2019. This time, it only managed 29. It was mainly a win for Nitish Bhaiya. He scored 12 seats compared to Tejashwi Yadav's 4, confounding everyone who thought it was all over for Paltu Ram. The happiest news for the BJP came down south. Even though its overall total in the region is the same, that is 29 seats, the party has done exceptionally well. The BJP now has won a seat in Kerala, making electoral history, and its vote share has increased from 12.93% to almost 16.5%. It also doubled its haul in Telangana from 4 to 8, with a staggering vote share of 35.06%. And it swept 21 seats in Andhra Pradesh as part of the NDA alliance with Naidu's Telugu Desam and the Jana Sena Party. The BJP personally scored 3 seats and a respectable vote share of 13.07%. Even in Tamil Nadu, where it scored under as usual, its vote share is up from 3.66% in 2019 to 10.72% in 2024. In fact, the only sore spot is Karnataka, where its total dropped from 25 to 17, while Congress jumped from 1 to 9. And the vote share also fell from 51.38% to 46.05%. Now, the gains may look modest, but BJP has truly broken the Great Wall of South India. Now, we're not going to get into the rest of the country. Suffice to say, Odisha was a blockbuster win, but the NDA has lost all seats in Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, and Meghalaya. As for Bengal, let's just say Mamta is still Maharani. No one puts Didi in a corner, and certainly not the BJP. Okay, so what does all of that add up to? The Splainer take? It was a big thappad for the BJP, but nowhere close to a lethal blow. The BJP has lost the most ground with the poorest Indians, including Dalits. There are 84 seats reserved for scheduled castes. Of these, the BJP has won 30, down from 46 in 2019. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but the Dalit vote was critical in the most important states, like Uttar Pradesh. A party that wins big in the state rules unchallenged in Delhi, hence the golden rule. Kendra Sarkar ka rasta UP se guzarta hai. So why did these Indians say no to the BJP? After all, the party has been extremely generous with its welfare benefits, especially in the north. The answer? They believed India when its leaders said the BJP will gut the constitution. In a democracy, too much power is not a good thing, and who knows that better than the powerless? Tanashahi nahi chalegi indeed. That message has been received loud and clear. That's why in his very first speech, the Prime Minister said, "Our constitution is our guiding light. I want to assure that the NDA government will work with all states." But what is all this talk of Tanashahi really about? Voters care about two basic issues, unemployment and mehengai, or inflation. What the BJP and the PM spoke least about, unemployment and mehengai. Indians started to worry that maybe Rahul Gandhi is right. Maybe this is a suit boot ki sarkar. The BJP acted as though its victory was already sealed. It seemed the party didn't feel it had to answer to the people or their worries. Of course, they're going to win. The only question is by how much? That's the biggest reason why Ghar Ghar Modi became Bas Bas Modi. The vote is the only weapon that poorest Indians have to force attention and accountability from the very powerful. Voters have made sure that the BJP knows that their Brahmastra is way more powerful than any at its disposal. You know what they say? Hamare paas maa hai? Well, this is what Indians are saying. आप electoral bonds रख लीजिए, हमारे पास वोट है. So is this the end of the Modi era? Like so many liberal pundits are saying, bye-bye to the 56-inch chatti. Not quite. Modi still matters, just not as much. For all his godlike photo ops, the Prime Minister has been revealed to be an ordinary Neta, subject to the whims of voters. He has been very publicly cut to size, and all the drama panti cannot make the country or the world unsee the fact. Also, unlike gods, Modi ji can no longer rule unchallenged. Every decision has to meet the approval of his two partners, Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu. Worse, they have no love for him, or the BJP, or the Hindu Rashtra agenda. And the party's big ticket agenda has officially stalled out. There'll be no uniform civil code, or one nation, one election, or even large-scale privatization. Rather than Hindu Dharma, Modi ji will have to embrace coalition Dharma. Adding to all those headaches is the prospect of rebellion in the ranks. Modi ji and Amit Bhai will no longer be able to lord it over other BJP leaders who have been entirely sidelined. What's most interesting is that this dhamaka has happened in the middle of questions about his age. Modi is 73 years old. All that chatter about retirement and his successor will become louder. And those who are eyeing the throne will be noisier and less likely to toe the line. So yes, Modi is weaker and less divine. He's no longer a superhero or supervillain, but a mere mortal like the rest of us. But he remains the first among equals, and by miles. Let's not forget the BJP still won a staggering 37.34% of the vote. The number for 2019, 37.37. That's hardly a defeat. That's all for now. Tune in for the next election edition on Friday. And don't forget to follow us so you don't miss out. You can also grab a free 300 rupee subscription to Splainer to get our daily news edition. I'll see you on Friday.